These days, addiction is becoming more and more common, and I'm not just talking about substance abuse like drugs or alcohol. Addiction is everywhere, and it feels like we need constant stimulation every minute of every day. It's to the point where we can't even sit down to a meal without pulling up a YouTube video. Overindulging in these habits can lead us into a life we don't want, turning us into addicts, whether it's with drugs, alcohol, porn, or even something like being a Discord moderator. By avoiding these harmful patterns, we steer clear of a dark and miserable life. Instead, we can become more productive, confident, driven, and ultimately happier with who we are. I know we've all tried to quit these bad habits before, only to find ourselves back at square one each time. It's a constant struggle, but don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to take control of your life and break free from these addictions. But before we dive into how to quit, let's first understand how addiction works in our brain. Addiction occurs in the brain's reward system. When we do something pleasurable, whether it's eating chocolate, playing video games, drinking alcohol, or smoking, we get a boost of dopamine. This makes us feel good, but then, like a wise voice in our head will tell us, everything in life is temporary. What goes up must come down. That's what happens to our dopamine. Once it hits its peak, it always falls back down. But here's the catch. It doesn't return to the normal baseline. It actually drops below normal, and that's when we start to feel bad, tired, unfocused, unmotivated. It's that feeling of wanting to stay in bed all day, avoiding life. When our dopamine levels drop too low, our brain craves pleasure to bring them back up quickly. But here's the problem. When we seek instant gratification, we only get temporary relief, and the cycle of highs and lows continues. Addictive behaviors like drug use, gaming, or porn make this cycle even worse. These behaviors spike dopamine levels super fast, but they also cause deeper crashes, leaving us feeling worse. These dopamine spikes condition our brains to crave quick pleasure, which makes it harder to enjoy things that offer more lasting satisfaction, like reading or exercising. For example, reading causes a slow increase in dopamine, but video games spike it almost instantly. That's why it's so hard to sit down with a book when you're addicted to gaming. If you're struggling with an addiction, whether it's gaming or something else, people will often just tell you to stop, but it's not that simple. The addiction becomes a part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth or showering. You can't just stop it overnight. So how do we quit these habits? Step 1. The first step is self-awareness. You need to admit that you have an addiction and that it's affecting your life. Some people might say, I play video games to relax and hang out with friends. But if you're spending 8 hours a day screaming into a mic over a bad teammate, you've got a problem. Step 2. I used to spend my whole day glued to my chair, frying my brain with League of Legends. But one day I realized this was getting out of hand. I hadn't exercised in weeks, I wasn't happy, and my life felt like it was on autopilot. So I started working out, and little by little, I began spending less time gaming. Working out became my new source of dopamine. Instead of going cold turkey, I replaced my addiction with something healthier that still gave me that dopamine boost. Step 3. Simply replacing your addiction with something else isn't always enough. Sometimes the urge is so strong that reading or going to the gym just doesn't cut it. I remember I still had moments where I'd sneak in a few hours of League, even while sticking to good habits. But everything changed when I started this YouTube channel. I became obsessed with growing my channel, and soon I had no time for video games anymore. You need to find something else to obsess over, a goal, a hobby. When you have an obsession, you'll fill your mind with it, and the old addiction will fade away. Step 4. On tough days, we often look for something that will make us feel good quickly. We turn to our addictions to cope with bad feelings, but if our mental health were better in the first place, we wouldn't feel so miserable. So working on your mental health is crucial. Meditate, be grateful for the little things, stay in good physical shape, and of course, stop playing games like League of Legends.